It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
We're going to give way. Go ahead.
Delightful.
Embalmed.
All right. I'm usually cheerful. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your warning for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
You can't hear it, but I'm cringing.
Well, I am still on my Christmas movie kick.
Good night, everybody.
I've watched a lot of, like, I don't know, like Hallmark and Great American Family and that kind of stuff. And I think I finally realized why I like these kind of movies. It's because no matter how corny it is, it's not just the good people who are getting like a Christmas blessing or a miracle at the time. It's also the bad guy who's also changing his heart, or he's also getting a blessing at this time. So it's to me, it's kind of a all around, kind of like the Grinch, but in real life stories.
Wait, the Grinch isn't real?
He is. But yeah, I've been watching a lot of those, and there's something else I watched that was pretty interesting. I haven't watched the third episode of Doctor Who yet. I have that one saved. We're gonna watch it tomorrow. It kind of sucks. I thought they came out on Fridays because I don't know. I just thought they came out on Fridays. Which actually this week was Bee's birthday. So it was like, cool, we'll go and, have Fun Friday with the baby who also thought it was her birthday. And, we'll have fun. We'll come back in and we'll watch Doctor Who this evening. So we get all ready to watch it. And it's like, where's it at? Oh, it doesn't come out till Saturday. Mm-hmm. Yay. So that kind of changed it. Oh, and I didn't listen to Les, and I watched Candy Cane Lane. I should have listened to Les, because that was bad.
Les said watch it.
He
just said it wasn't good.
Oh, okay. I was like, did he say watch it?
That's what I remember anyway. Yeah, he said go ahead and watch it if you want. Yeah,
I mean, parts of it was cute. I mean, it had its moments, but I'm thinking, when I'm watching this, it's like, this is probably a step, maybe a baby step ahead of a Hallmark movie. The only thing that would separate it from a Hallmark movie, for one of the actors, but there was a little bit more action in
both actors
than you normally get in a Hallmark movie, but yeah, it was... Definitely wasn't raw. I'll put it that way. I'm trying to figure out where this would land in Eddie Murphy's career. And I really, I mean, this is like, I don't know. I'm kind of surprised he did it myself. I don't know if this is like I'm getting older and this will be something for my kids later on to enjoy, or...
No, that was Pluto Nash.
No, it's more likely that he said, how many zeros? That's more likely what the deal was.
True.
He's doing Beverly Hills Cop 4, people.
Mm.
So come on.
Now, see, I could see that before this movie.
No.
No?
Do you remember when the last one came out, and that was not well received either?
Yeah, that's true. The third one wasn't very good.
And it was 30 years ago.
Yeah. 94.
We watched, what was it, Leo. I think it's called Leo. It's the new Adam Sandler animated movie. That one's cute. That one's really cute. We had watched that the week before this, and I was thinking, well, okay, Adam Sandler always pulls off a good Christmas movie because he's funny. Eddie Murphy could do the same thing, right?
If he's being funny.
Yeah. Well, parts of this was supposed to be funny, but it just kind of, you saw everything coming. And, yeah.
From which movie?
From the Candy Cane Lane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty predictable.
It was. Now, the little glass characters, those were cute. I think that was the comic relief, but sometimes when they were supposed to be funny, it was just more cringe than funny.
And it's probably bad if you've got Eddie Murphy in your movie and an inanimate object is the comic relief.
Thank you. That's what exactly I was thinking.
I could tell.
Maybe that's what I think you hit it right on the head. What's wrong with this? He wasn't that funny.
He did 2 Dr. Dolittle movies. So to me, that was inanimate objects too.
Yeah. And he was funny in those.
It was enjoyable.
Yeah. He was more cranky than funny in this. And not cranky in like a Scrooge kind of way, but just, I don't know. I didn't care for it. Stick to the Adam Sandler movies. Those are funny.
See, that I wouldn't have guessed either. But
yeah,
anyway.
I wouldn't guess that either. Yeah.
I don't know if I talked about Leo or not. Adam Sandler is a classroom pet. And he's been in this tank, in the classrooms, for like 50 years. Well, and then someone made a comment that lizards only live for like 50 years, and he counts it out, and he's like, oh, this is the last year I have to live. So he starts going home with the kids, and like each kid has their own little problem, and he kind of helps them with it and everything. I mean, it's super cute. It's hilarious. Especially, I guess I found it real funny because I've worked with kids. So some of the things that they were having problems with, or some of the things they would say, or conclusions they came to, I found a little bit more amusing than maybe others would. But I really liked it. But I didn't know until the credits rolled that a lot of his kids, I say a lot, I think like 3 of his kids are in this movie with him. So I thought, well, that's kind of neat,
That is cool.
Especially since they didn't have to really, I hate to put it this way, and I know I'm going to grind a nerve on someone, especially since they didn't have to act. They only had to talk.
Somehow I knew that's where you were going to go with that.
And I know how much hard work goes into voice acting. I am the biggest advocate for voice actors, but you know what I mean. They didn't have to,
being on camera is different. Sure.
Yeah.
No, being on camera, there's more to it. I mean,
but
you can come in and read some lines. I mean, whether you put anything into it or not, I mean, they're probably, I don't know how old they are. They probably don't know how to do that, but.
Right. Well, and it's just kind of a be yourself. That's what he wanted. Right. You're not portraying a different character. Just be yourself, So I thought that was kind of cute. So for this season, Adam Sandler 1, Eddie Murphy 0. But Leo is not a Christmas movie. Just, FYI, it's not a Christmas movie, but it is a family movie, and one that at Christmas time you could watch with them. Just, when everybody's sitting around kind of thing. But yeah. Oh, and then it was also kind of cool. Saturday night in downtown, they did a Krampus Walk. which is the first time that it's been in our little hometown. Usually they pick the bigger city next to us to do that. So I didn't get out. There was a lot of people down there. For those of you who don't know, we just redesigned our downtown area. We went from like 1920s to, I'd say we're about 1990 now.
Dang.
We've updated a little, you know.
The last half of the 20th century. Yeah, we're getting there.
We're getting there, you know. It is nice. It's really nice. We did keep a lot of the history down there, but it was just nice seeing everybody out walking and with their families and things. But what was so funny about this event is the night before they had the tree lighting. And so when they announced, you know, they have announced this Krampus Walk for, I'm wanting to say since Halloween. So it's not something new, you know. And unlike the tree lighting, this was not a city-sponsored event. The city had nothing to do with organizing it. They just gave them the permits to use downtown for it. So people were very upset that the night before we celebrated Christ, and now you've got demons walking downtown, and it was kind of like, it's Krampus.
Welcome to Texas, y'all.
You know, yes, we are in Texas. It's a German folklore. It's a tradition. I didn't get where they were coming from. The devil. He's not the devil. You know, he's like the.
It's coming from ignorance.
It is.
I mean, you posted in Discord the Facebook post, and the very first post, the dude goes into the history of the Krampus.
Yeah,
I mean, he goes into detail and all that,
exactly.
and there's still people going, well, I mean, Garland's accepting evil in downtown or that kind of stuff. I'm just like,
they don't. Listening is a lost art.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, and anything that's different
Texas
outside of what
education
they
is a lost
normally
art,
do.
That's a different problem.
I found it hilarious. You know, I grew up Christian. I will be the first one to tell you, hey, that shit's evil. You know, I
tells
will.
me that all the time, folks, all the time. No, I'm kidding.
But
Well,
I
mean, and
never
the guy
had a problem with Krampus. I never connected him to Satan, you know. He is a demon. He's a demon, but do what?
It's because he has a demon form.
Yeah.
That's why they're upset about it. But yeah, I mean, his whole thing is he's punishing he's punishing bad kids. That's you know.
Yeah.
That's by definition anti-Christ.
And that's part of what I said. Maybe if you guys didn't have some bad kids, we wouldn't have to bring them to town.
We have this problem, right? No kidding.
You know, shit. Take care of your kids.
Please tell me you didn't post that.
And people are, like I said, people were so upset about this. But it was like, okay, now mind you, Christian here. We celebrate Christmas in December because the Catholic Church was trying to cover up a pagan holiday, which was the winter solstice. So we decided, hey, in December, at the beginning of winter solstice, we're going to celebrate the birth of Christ. And hey, absolutely nothing wrong with celebrating the birth of Christ. My family and me, we do it every year. But if you want to dig and get technical, like these little Karens wanted to on a Facebook post, Christ was not born in December. That is not when they do the census. They do the census in springtime. So the swaddling clothes that he was wrapped in, he would have froze to death in December. You know, just didn't happen that way. So if they're going to split a hair on this isn't the way things are done, then split the hair both ways because, you know, we celebrate to cover up a pagan holiday, which we chose to celebrate in a different way, which to me means it's all in what you put in the day. If you believe these are demons walking around and you have something that you're feeling kind of bad about, yes, I would be scared of that, you know. But I don't see it that way. I don't see it as an evil thing. I saw it as a tradition, just the same way we use Santa Claus to keep our kids in check, which, hey, if you have kids, we've all done it. You got to be good.
Nice.
Santa's watching, This is just the opposite of that. You got to be good. Krampus is coming, I don't see that as parents wanted their kids to die. Parents wanted their kids beaten. But it was a way of keeping their kids in check, Just a little help around the holidays. When school's getting winding down, they've got all this pent-up energy because it's winter and they haven't been outside, Boy, get down off that ceiling. Krampus is coming. I can see it.
Get off that ceiling.
He was just only dancing on the ceiling. I mean, come on.
Right.
What a feeling.
Kind of get
What a
Lionel
feeling.
Richie check in here. Great.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it's just people who had. It wasn't good enough that you got your night. You got your tree. You got your fa-la-la-las, Let these people have their night. And what is the difference in celebrating Krampus than celebrating Oktoberfest, which the city does sponsor every year in downtown Garland? They're both German traditions, So either respect all of them.
Yes, but we can get shit-faced at Oktoberfest.
Right?
That's different.
Which is technically excess and gluttony is a sin,
It is.
But hey, we won't go there.
Oh, good. I'm certainly glad we're not going there. 10
I
minutes
don't
in.
have a problem with that, I mean, hell, Jesus and the 12 drank wine all the time. I don't have a problem with that.
Back then, it was literally safer to drink wine than it was to drink water, but I digress.
Yeah. I mean, well, hell, even, and people also forget that the Bible's kind of set over in the Middle East. Even now, it's like table water is what they consider wine, table water. So,
Right. The whole most of the use of the word wine in the Bible might be a bit metaphorical by itself, but again,
right.
don't have to go there.
Well, the first miracle ever recorded was turning water into wine.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like I said, though, I didn't see it as a evil satanic ritual. I didn't see anybody chanting. That wasn't the reason I didn't get out of the car. We drove around. We drove around because I wanted to see the costumes. It was some badass costumes down there.
Sure.
But there was just so many people. And as many times
and they were
as
clearly
we
all
redesigned
hating it, right?
downtown- Do what?
And they were clearly all hating it. All of the people that were there were hating the whole thing.
Was hating it. They
Just
were.
totally,
Just having a miserable time,
So they were just gathering evidence so they could go put a mean post on
just tearing the
Facebook.
place up, It was bad.
I don't know. I'm sure it was a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was because there were so many people praying for everyone down.
Doesn't that count as a ritual in some way? I don't know.
Well,
Anyway.
someone had made the comment that with all the God people who got upset, and it was like, whoa, wait a minute. I am God's favorite, and I cheered you guys on.
Oh, Lord.
Not all of us had a problem with this shit. Some of us have a Krampus in our bedrooms.
That's no way to talk about Phil.
Thanks for the visual.
Right. I make a file of horns down, We got to keep up with the Joneses. But we'll get into this a little bit later. One of my favorite movies, though, is Krampus, the newest ones. And there was a Krampus who looked exactly like him walking around down there. So freaking awesome. I think out of all of the movies that have been made, that movie really, nailed it. Totally nailed his appearance. So, and then they had, these little black sheep-looking things walking around. Those looked pretty cool, too. But I'm just glad that a lot of people came together. They dressed up. They had fun. Nobody got hurt. Nobody was arrested. Downtown is still in one piece. church resumed on Sunday. You know? But I'm kind of hoping they continue it. I really do. And I'm glad that now that we have redesigned our downtown area, we'll start seeing a lot more of events like this. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I don't know which I'm more happier about, the events or laughing at all the people clutching their pearls. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's again. Welcome to Texas, y'all.
Yeah, I was going to make a comment, but I think I'll just keep it to myself.
Probably best.
Probably best. I will say this. I did reach out to the mayor after I saw that post, and I said, hey, has anything come back to the city regarding this? Because I've seen some people be upset about it. He says, nope. Seems like everybody had a good time, and we're respecting everybody's right to say what they want to say. So.
Yep.
Cool. So good attitude.
Well, like I said, I think if you could point at it and go, this is demonic, and here's its evil roots, the city might have said, well, maybe we shouldn't do that in downtown. We can rent you a park. But
it's okay to have not only one, but two events featuring Santa Claus, who some people put above Christ.
Well, in Santa Claus, Krampus is like Santa Claus's brother, you know, so it's kind of, you can't.
I mean, I know Santa Claus
his
origins from Saint Nicholas. I understand that, but still, it's been a character. It's been a character that has no religious ties. Where exactly with the Krampus does.
Yeah.
There's nothing religious or satanic or anything regarding the creature. It's just a creature that was created to keep kids in line.
Keep kids in check. Give them something to look forward to, you know. And, I mean, whether you were looking forward to Krampus or not, I'm still, good kids, I'm sure, enjoyed the folklore, you know.
They probably didn't know what the hell Krampus was until it happened. And they go, oh, what is this?
Yeah. And I think over here, Krampus might have taken off a little bit if people weren't so offended. And instead of getting sticks or getting dragged out to the middle of the street, Santa Claus gave you coal, you know. So even we have the bad version of Santa Claus. So I didn't see it as they're fighting about mythological creatures. You know? Don't we have more to worry about? You know?
No, some people really don't.
Yeah.
Sadly.
That must be exciting. Good problem to have.
Right.
I want to say something else, but I'm going to keep it to myself as well.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one either.
Yeah.
Well, no, you want to talk about evil, but like I said, I'm going to keep it to myself.
I am glad the city didn't get any blowback, though. I know Carissa, she's one of our council women, and she's been fielding it pretty good of reminding people, hey, you know, for one thing, get your panties out of your ass. But for two, you know, the second thing, this was not a city-sponsored event. We sponsor a lot of events, but this was not sponsored.
That doesn't mean anything because people just went off half-cocked.
Right.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Again, nobody shouting about this had ever had any intention of listening to a response.
No. Or even showing up or, you know, I'm upset and I'm going to yell and scream and let everybody know I'm upset.
Yep, it's a tantrum.
It is.
Straight up.
Yep.
I'm kind of chuckling at this, and you'll know why once you watch the Doctor Who special.
Uh-oh. Is Krampus in it?
No. Let's just say Russell T. Davies had a couple of messages in the episode.
Ah.
So.
See, I'm a firm believer if it doesn't matter or if it doesn't bother you or impact your life, leave it the fuck alone. If it makes somebody else happy, let them have their happiness. Right now, we need all the happiness we can get. And if walking around downtown looking like half a goat made you happy, you go, you know. Do it. My horns were polished, I may have went.
Anywho.
That's the reason you didn't go?
Right. That's the only reason.
Totally.
My goat hide was dirty, you know.
It was at the cleaners.
Yeah.
Didn't have access to it. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. I had the cat fur, but not the goat fur.
Wow. Okay, we're learning a lot tonight.
Too much information.
Pretty much.
Yep. I've said enough.
Oh, on that note, move, Mike.
Okay,
Now,
well, good.
now.
Hit to go.
Yeah, like the military guys in the jump planes. Yeah, go.
Or in Toy Story where they're all going downstairs.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Toy Story now.
That's later.
Yeah, we can do that later. Movies come later. Yeah, so this week I was less weirdly distracted and busy, so I actually got to watch a couple of Red Greens and fiddle around with some stuff. I also started watching another. Apparently I'm having fun with the concert videos on YouTube, so I found another one. I went with Genesis this time because starting to get a picture of my musical tastes. But this one is from their 2007 tour. It's the Rome show.
Okay.
Which I think is the one that they actually made a. I think they sold a DVD of this or something. So I don't think it's like a bootleg or anything. It's way too high production value for that. It's pretty nice looking. I will say that it was a little. It's actually still, because I'm only about halfway through it right now. It's a little unnerving. It's a little unsettling. Because I would not have imagined that 15 years ago they would have had to tune down the songs so much so that Phil could sing them. I do not know what took place in the 10 years between tours. I mean, my understanding was that he was touring on his own a lot of that time, so I don't know, but because he did, I don't know, at least 3 solo albums in that time. But it was unsettling. It's very weird how tuned down everything is. I mean, it's not like half a step or anything. It's like half an octave.
Wow.
It's wild. And it just sounds strange because it's all out of key. Yeah. I mean, it's in a key. It's just not in the key that I'm used to hearing. And
that it was recorded in.
Right. I mean, admittedly, I haven't seen them live since 1991, but to listen to that and then go back to the studio albums, holy cow, it's huge.
Yeah, I want to check that out. I don't remember hearing anything about that for this last tour, but it may have been accepted at that point because everybody else was talking about the fact that he was sitting in a chair for the entire.
Well, and you talk about the last tour. That was last year.
Yeah.
So that was because it had gotten pushed because of COVID. So I don't remember if it was 21 or 22. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was probably at the end of 21 and rolled into 22. And there were really only about 12 shows. So calling it a tour is a stretch. But yeah, I'm assuming I can only assume it was at least tuned down the same amount. And yeah, I mean, his back problems are pretty well documented at this point too. So the idea that it was, the idea that they were having to tune it down that far 15 years ago before this most recent thing, it's just surprising. Yeah. I mean, it's a good show. It's great to hear some of this stuff, but it's, like I said, a little weird. And I'll drop the link in Discord sometime.
You know, it's funny because I had just recently, within the last, I don't know, about a month or so, I saw some video on YouTube, and it was Peter Cetera, former Chicago bassist and lead vocalist performing, and someone posted in the comments. He said it was funny that he saw him in one of his last concerts, and the thing that was so funny, it seemed like all the Chicago songs were in a lower key, but the stuff that was solo, the solo stuff, was still in the original key. So it's almost like there's like a mental lock or something like that he can't sing those old songs the way he used to. So I got to drop it. But for my solo stuff, I can still sing it perfectly.
That is weird. That's really
weird. It is very weird. Because I've heard him do 25 or 6 to 4, and it is in a lower key. And that's what he was talking about when the whole thing with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He came back and said, "Okay, let's play it in a different key," and of course they said, "Oh, fuck that." They're like, "Okay, have fun."
Right, I'm out. Which may be why he's doing the lower key thing on all the Chicago stuff anyway.
I don't know.
Just a fuck you I can thing because I'm controlling it.
Who knows? But he's retired, so it's
right.
Not even an issue now.
Yeah, he retired a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
That's been a little while.
It's been probably about 4 years at this point now, which is hard to believe. But then again, he didn't really tour that much.
Right.
Part of it because it was so expensive, and the other part is you heard that interview. It's kind of amazing after all these years he still has issues when he goes out to the stage, or if he goes to the studio to record. It takes him a while for him to get comfortable.
Which is kind of why he left. Well, it's at least part of why he left Chicago anyway, because they were a touring band.
There are several reasons, but
yeah. But one of the ones I've heard him talk about is the touring schedule was just he just couldn't do it anymore. He didn't want to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when he suggested pulling back, they just piled on more shows.
Well, and then the whole thing of him wanting just to take some time off to record a solo album, which they did not want him to do anyway. I'm like, what's the freaking difference between him going and doing a solo album than him doing a Chicago album where he's going to sing most of the lead anyway?
Right. Well, and by that time they're starting to pull away from Foster anyway. So
right. I know.
A lot of that gets blamed on David Foster, and honestly, I believe them.
Well, yeah.
But
yeah.
It's not all him, but
yeah. Well, yeah. It's Foster's fault, but for all that, but as Bill Champlin says, it's because of David Foster. They have a freaking big bank behind them.
Damn right, absolutely. Yep.
He says he doesn't understand why someone would be so pissed off at a person that made them a ton of money. But okay. Yeah. I love listening to Champlin's interviews. He tells it like it is. He will not mince words.
Good.
Because he doesn't fucking care.
Right. He's got his big bank account. He's cool.
He's doing what he wants to do. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Can't fault the man for that.
There was also an interview. I need to see if I can find it. I found it a couple months ago. It was done like earlier this year with Keith Hallen. It was like a video podcast. That was a very interesting interview too, because apparently Lamb was still upset at the fact that there was a second keyboard player in the band. And he goes, well, but after Champlin leaves, y'all turn around and get another keyboard player vocalist. So what the hell's going on here? They're like, well, maybe not be the second keyboard player. It may be who the second keyboard player was.
It's a thought.
It was a very enlightening episode.
A little bit of Chicago tea.
Mm-hmm. Which is funny when I started listening to it and started thinking about it. God, Hallen was with the band longer than Kath. I mean, Keith joined in like 95 and left a couple of years ago because he had an accident where he broke his arm. And he decided at that point, you know what, it's time for a change anyway. So, which that was an interesting story because they were at that point, they were trying to line up substitutes just in case anybody got COVID. And he had been kind of delaying finding a backup for him. So Lee actually chose somebody. And the guy showed up at this particular performance, and that happens to be the show where Chris was carrying some of his stuff, and he fell, and he broke his arm. So he had to turn around and train essentially what would become his backup on how to play just for that night. So he was playing with Howland's gear.
Huh. Dang.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's a very interesting interview. Obviously he was a diehard fan, and he told a funny story of how he met Cetera backstage back when Keith was like in high school and all that. And I gotta find it because he did the one thing we always are afraid of. You go up to someone you admire, especially if they're a star or something like that, and he's thinking, don't say something stupid, don't say something stupid, don't say something stupid. He says something stupid. And then years later, they were on a plane together, and they're sitting together, and Keith told him the story, and then they instantly became friends. So it's just kind of funny how that works out. So I'm sorry, I'm taking your time.
No, it's pretty much done anyway. It's cool. Us going off on a tangent? No way. That never happens.
No, that never happens. Okay, Les.
I feel like I was in the Twilight Zone or something.
Right, a tangent that you weren't involved in. That's weird.
I didn't even know how to jump in that conversation. What you got for me, Les?
Your turn, Les.
First thing, that was really cruel to say that.
Which one?
What?
You should be ashamed of yourself.
What did I say?
Oh, immediately you think it's you?
Usually is.
Oh, if there's a mouth around, Liz will put her foot in it.
Right. It's like, which thing did I say?
Yeah, you're going to have to be more specific, man. Come on.
I know what it could be, but why don't you tell me?
Yeah, I need to know how to apologize for this.
This week I read a couple of books. One was a graphic novel called The Great British Bump Off, which was a series put out by Dark Horse. It is laden with a lot of British humor. So luckily, I was able to catch a lot of it. I wasn't having to rewind it to try to figure out what was said. But it was a fun read. It's a little mystery. It takes place during a cook-off, a bake-off in Britain. And you've got the young girl that's trying to solve the mystery and find the criminal, things like that. So it had good points. I also was going to go get something to eat. I decided that I wanted something to read. So I found my fallback for that. I reread Cruel Shoes by Steve Martin and still laughed my butt off. This was when Martin was well known, but he decided to write a small book. The book is only, it's a little over, well, I thought it was like 200 pages. No, it can't be 200 pages. But all it is little stories, little 1-2 page stories. I think the maximum was 5 pages. But it has titles like The Confessions of Raymond to His Goldfish. It has Cruel Shoes, Serious Dogs, The Day the Buffalo Danced, Women Without Bones, The Children Called Him Big Nose, things like that. Little stories, and it's all satire. So it's really interesting to read. This came out in 1977. And this, like I said, this has been a mainstay for me to read. It's that much fun. And just to go, okay, I know what's going on in the world at that time. So how is this fitting? And it does. It fits so well. So if you can find a copy of it, grab it. I think I found mine at Half Price Books years ago. And this is probably the 3rd copy I've had. It's just fun read. But that's about it for me.
No Doctor Who?
No, I haven't delved into the second story yet.
Oh, the second? Okay.
Yeah.
Because the 3rd one came out Saturday, like Liz said.
Yeah. Did you like the first one?
Yes and no. But it's one of those that I'm going to tell people to watch it and make your own decision.
Yeah. I thought I liked it until Brandon started explaining some things to me.
Ooh.
Well, it's not that I don't like it. I just have a few questions.
It's very weird that your son has to explain this to you, but okay.
But is anybody really surprised by this?
Well, I think there's parts of it where we're watching it and he's, I'll ask him things because, he's definitely seen a lot more of Doctor Who than I have. Uh-huh. But he's like, I think at this point you're overthinking. It's like, oh, okay. So, yeah, there's a lot of things I guess I'm not supposed to think about that I do. But we started watching, HBO calls it season 1, but it's with Eccleston and Rose. Uh-huh. So if nothing else, we got another show to watch out of it. Because he was like, maybe if we watch this, you'll kind of see why that kind of sucks. Not that the movie, not, parts, not all of it, because he's really enjoying it too.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why they essentially call it season 1 because it's basically because they had taken such a long period of time. It's literally starting over again for the most part.
Yeah.
The best way to say that.
Well, 'cause when I saw season 1, I was thinking, oh, this is cool. We're going to watch the black and white ones. And he's like, no. Those are hard to find. I said, oh, okay.
Not anymore.
That's the ones I remember.
They're on, oh, God, Carl's posted a couple of places. I know Tubi has I don't know if they have all of them. Pluto has a channel devoted specifically for the the older shows.
Yeah. He said something about BritBox had it too.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
yeah.
BritBox showing a British show? Oh my God. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Media.
But they used to play that like real late at night. Do y'all remember when the TV would shut itself off? And right before it would play like the national anthem and stuff. Well, on PBS, usually the last song you would hear was the Doctor Who song.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was going off and then TV was shutting off,
Yeah,
which is
it was
so
played,
weird.
It was played late Saturday nights.
Yeah. It started at like 11 or midnight our time.
Yeah.
It was like the whole... I remember at some point PBS called it their British invasion because they would play like Mr. Bean and Blackadder and Doctor Who.
Are you being served?
Faulty Towers. So
yes, Prime
I loved
Minister.
it. But Doctor Who was always the last thing that they played, and most of the time I'd fall asleep to that song.
and I miss a lot of that.
Yeah.
It was because of that I found out about Man About the House, which was the inspiration for Three's Company.
Yeah.
I mean, literally the first episode of Man About the House, they did identical for the first episode of Three's Company, right down to the dude being in the bathtub.
Yeah. They used to have a lot of good stuff. I don't know. Does PBS still play that kind of stuff? I got cable.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
So.
Well, even when I had cable, I'd always turn it over for, the British invasion.
So.
Sometimes you'd get lucky and they'd play Monty Python,
Especially when they were doing their membership drives.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
I hated those, but I loved the programming at that time.
Oh, I love the programs, but the whole thing with coming back and, for $60 you can get this CD that's actually worth $12 or $13.
Oh, yeah. Spend 20 minutes between shows doing it, too. It was so frustrating.
Yeah.
I caught one, I don't know if it was late last year or earlier this year, and the only reason why I was watching it is it was Santana at the U.S. Festival in, 1983. I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
And you get about one song or maybe two, and then all of a sudden they got to cut in and then come back and do one song, and then they'll cut back again. Hey, here's Herbie Hancock. He's going to jump in on one of these songs. But first, we're gonna beg you. We're gonna beg you.
And make you feel bad because you're watching this for free.
Wouldn't it feel better if you paid for it? Come on.
That's how we got the meet and greet at the Barney show when the Wiggles was here. That's how long ago that was. And, I mean, I get it more than... Oh, God, I'm going to go to hell for saying this. I get the PBS drive more than I did the Jerry Lewis drive. I mean, I understand sick kids and everything else, but that was like a week long or something, wasn't it?
It was a weekend.
Yeah, it was
Memorial Day weekend?
It was
Labor Day weekend.
It usually started right around late Sunday and go till Monday evening.
Night, midnight or something.
Depending what network you were watching.
That was like 3 days of not knowing how to feel. You're laughing your ass off because the shows were hilarious. But let me show you this sick kid, and you're laughing. So it's like,
well, I mean, the play trials on PBS went for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and they would do it 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So.
But PBS, they don't have outside donors. At the time, when they were really heavily into that, I'm sure they still do it, but at the time, public was all you had. They got a government grant, but come on, that didn't cover a lot. They really depended on their viewers to bring that programming to them. So something like that I could understand. See, I'm going to go to hell. I feel bad for even saying it that way. But something like that I understood more, sick kids, there's, government programs and government hospitals and, not saying they don't deserve money. God, see, I don't even know how to say that with sounding right.
Stop while you're
Stop.
behind.
Right, it's time to
far,
stop.
far behind.
Put the shovel down, Liz.
Right. But like I said, with PBS, I guess I didn't mind as much because I understood it.
But
When I was watching sick kids, I wasn't a sick kid and probably selfish.
But the prices were astronomical. Like I said, it's literally $60 for a CD that you can pick up at Walmart for $12.
Well, but that wasn't
$15
the
at
point.
most. I understand that,
Okay.
but still.
Yeah, I won't even tell you how much a meet and greet cost for 3 kids.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying do dollar for dollar, but if you do twice as much, that's fine. But it's
5 times.
Yeah.
Right, and the deal,
That's-
honestly, more than likely what was happening was they were getting those CDs donated somehow.
Free.
Somebody
Yeah.
was giving
They
them
were
those. They weren't
donated.
paying for those. So the $60 really wasn't going for the CD. They were just throwing that at you to make you feel
For
like you're
thank
getting
you.
something extra. Right.
Yeah.
That's how that shit usually works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. For
I
me,
worked one of those.
huh?
I worked one of those.
You did
The PBS
The
thing?
telethon?
Not telethon, but, for
the
PBS.
PBS for KDRA. Cool.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
they had
cool.
Volunteers in there answering the phones. There you go.
Yeah.
They came up and asked me how things were and what people were saying. And I said, people are liking the shows and they like the idea of not having commercials. The guy kind of looked at me and said, okay, let's move on.
I gotta find video footage of that online.
That would be,
Yes.
awesome. Yes.
So that's probably why I felt like I knew you when I first met you. I probably had seen you on PBS. He was the funny guy.
Don't blame me for nothing now.
He says people liking not having commercials as we are during a pledge break. So.
Yeah. Did you
The
do a
irony's
stare
there.
down like we're doing right now?
Mhm.
But I got to talk with my hero.
Mm.
The guy was a television person, and in Oklahoma City, he was big. So I got
Who was
to
it?
talk with Foreman Scotty.
I'm going to have to Google it.
No, you don't got to do nothing with that.
Like
Just
you said,
had a
Oklahoma City.
afternoon show for kids.
Oh, cool.
That is cool.
Oh, okay. After I've Googled it, once you see the face, you're like, okay, yeah. Well, that's pretty cool.
Well, for me, I actually saw the Doctor Who special.
Ooh.
Ah.
I have not jumped on the social media to see the responses to it. I'm kind of afraid to, because there's some change to the lore. And God knows how people will respond, especially fans will respond to stuff like that. But it's a 60-year-old show. You gotta change things up.
It's also a time travel show. How do you not change things?
Right. Oh God, Neil Patrick Harris was just phenomenal.
I'm so excited to see him in this. He wanted to be a doctor, and they were kind of like, eh.
He chewed up every scene he was in.
He usually does.
He usually does. One of the reaction videos I watched, because I watched a couple of them that I watch all the time, and I was really curious on how they were responding because they were Who fans. And someone made the comparison, because he's playing the Toy Maker. This has been kind of out there a little bit. It's a character that was introduced, I think, with the first Doctor, so back in the 60s, but that episode I think the audio still exists, but the film does not exist.
Yeah.
One of the guys made a comparison, and it's a fair one, to Mr. Mxyzptlk. He's very impish, but there is a very dark side to him as well. And he was great throughout the whole thing. And there was a nice touch to Michael Gould, who played the Toymaker originally. And for those who heard the name and not really placing a face, he did a lot of Hammer films during the 60s, but probably best known for playing Alfred in the Tim Burton and Joe Schumacher Batman films.
Huh.
Yep.
But yeah, I thought it was a fun episode. Very challenging. Some actually talked about it being in the story arc that began with the Eccleston era, and I hadn't thought about it that way, but I guess it could be. And then Chudy was introduced. That's the 15th, and I think I pronounced his name right. Oh my God! If he has this kind of energy and has similar dialogue in future episodes, he's gonna be very memorable. I think he's gonna do extremely well.
Cool.
It was
Doctor.
I think he was fun in this one. I can't wait to see him in the Christmas episode, where he has a chance to just own the whole episode, and then go from there. But
see, we were kind of debating that. I didn't know if they would regenerate at the end of this episode to give him like the whole Christmas episode, or if they would wait till the Christmas episode, like very beginning.
I can't say anything because it's gonna freaking spoil it. But it's an amazing ending. It's an amazing final battle with the Toymaker. It is. I enjoyed the heck out of it. When I saw it and then I watched it again through the reaction videos, I'm going, this is fun. This is fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
I knew he would make it fun.
Of course, Russell dropping stuff for future episodes where you go, ooh, can't wait to see what happens with this and that. So I mean, it was really well done. I think I enjoyed that one the most out of the three.
Out of the three. I think the first one, they just had so much to wrap up that the second one felt a little bit more at ease. You know, the first one was, okay, we got to, make Donna remember, and, she's got to be okay, and we've got to wrap this up because we can't have her explode after she remembers. So I think there was just so much to wrap up in the first episode.
To bring her back, yeah. And try to get her set.
And make it make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I can agree with that. Yeah, I can. But once that's done, it's done. You can move on.
Yeah.
I was not exactly. I mean, I liked the second one, but I was having flashbacks to the Event Horizon for a lot of it, and that I didn't exactly like Event Horizon, but I mean, it was a good episode, but this one I just knew. When they cast Neil Patrick Harris, I was like, this is gonna be so delicious.
Yeah.
And it was. He was great. He really is.
He Neil Patrick Harris all over the damn thing.
Oh God.
Those people who are excited about the part they're gonna play, with the exception of Jared Leto, they usually knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
Like totally. And especially with him, he had the acting chops to where he could just totally.
I will spoil one thing. It's not anything story related or anything. I'll just say two words. Spice Girls.
Oh, and with him, that could mean any number of things.
Right.
So,
That's cool. I'm
that was
excited
fun.
to watch that one.
Yeah.
I'm off tomorrow, so
a lot of name drops. There was a face from the past who returned, and it was fun to see her again. So
nice.
Some people may not recognize her, especially if you've not watched the older Doctor Who's. And I'll just give you a rough estimate: 6, 7. So
I know.
You know.
I could tell you who it is right now.
Yeah, let's not spoil it for people.
Oh, come on.
Especially Liz.
You can. That's the thing. Someone made one of the guys made a comment. It's like, because like I said, this villain was one that was brought back from the original show. They need to do that again. Some of the ones that got away or something like that, they're not. Newer fans are not going out of their way watching the older stuff. Try to bring those characters back. And maybe generate some interest in watching the old.
To go back and watch that.
Go back and watch the original stuff.
Yeah.
But the kind of show that Doctor Who is, even if they've killed him off or it wasn't quite right, it doesn't mean he can't go back in time to a different spot. There's definitely ways in this show to work with that.
Well, not just time, because we do have the multiverse.
Yeah. And that's part of what in the second one, the Chris Eccleston one that we've been watching, they went and did something, and I told Brandon, I said, I said, they better be careful. And he was like, why? And I said, well, you don't want to change anything. And he was like, yeah, I don't think that's such a big deal in the Whoverse. I said, okay. I'm so used to the Flash of, you're going to create a wrinkle. And,
Oh, no, every so often they used to go back and have specials where they would just bring multiple doctors in to do stuff.
Yes.
This happened multiple times in the old series.
That's what he said. He
The
said
5
something's
doctors
really got to fuck up
there
for
was
that to
There was a
happen.
3 doctors one before that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The 5 doctors, though, was so good.
Yep. That's the first one I remember seeing. But
yeah. I enjoyed
in
all.
this
I
kind
enjoyed.
of world, there's a lot of leeway for that, though.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of enjoyed all 3. The 3 doctors, 5 doctors, and the 2 doctors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if I saw the 2 doctors.
That was with Colin Baker and Patrick Troughton.
Maybe I did. It's been a long time if I did.
It's been a while since you watched
Anyway.
the 6th Doctor. I understand.
See, I'm going to have fun learning what the hell y'all are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, folks, let's just give her BS and see what happens.
Well, that's what we've been doing for the last 10 minutes. What are you talking about?
I'll fact check you against Brandon, and he'll tell me.
Brandon will tell you, too.
He'll be like, what?
Unless one of us can get hold of him first,
I agree with the previous comment.
But see, he talks to me more. He'd be like, hell no. Them guys be tripping. He probably wouldn't say tripping. That dated me.
Probably not with that accent, anyway.
Whatever the word is now. That's unfleek or I don't know.
I think that one's gone now, too, honestly.
See? I'll just ride my dinosaur out now. Good night.
Buy that for $1.
That's pretty much it. I did post something today that I came across on Twitch. Apparently, a group has put together a AI Santa, and he's got his own website, but he's also streaming on Twitch. And you can ask him questions. You just got to make sure you start the question off with Santa, so it can pick it up. It's funny at times, but the thing is, there's a lot of trolls that go in there and try to make them say some of the stupidest things. which can be funny at times. At other times, it kind of gets annoying because that's all they're doing. You know, it's one thing to kind of do a funny joke and all that, and sometimes the AI kind of picks it up and doesn't fall for it. But there's other times where I think I posted a comment on Discord. Someone says this has got to be the first AI is having a psychotic breakdown.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of cool to watch it. But you know, who knows how long? You know, it's going to be around till Christmas. But beyond that, who knows?
Yeah,
But they're
different.
Well, they're working on a way. They're working on something. They said to where you can do an AI version of yourself. And I'm like, oh, that's not scary at all.
Not at all.
Maybe next year it'll be an AI Krampus.
There you go.
Could you imagine me talking to myself? I'd never sleep.
Mike, that's where you just turn on the record, you hit the record button, and just let it go for about 4 or 5 days, and then.
I don't want to have to edit that.
Just give it full blown.
I think after a couple of hours, I would develop my own Liz speak, and you wouldn't be able to understand it anymore.
Yeah, but I bet I could.
We don't understand it now.
Linguistics, with linguists, and get people working on figuring it out, though.
Yeah. Good luck.
Okay.
That is pretty interesting, though.
Yeah, I would definitely try to just check it out for a little bit.
Did you post a link to that?
Yeah, I posted it in the general,
okay.
In the general section.
I'll have to check that out.
I
see it now.
Before we get in,
rap songs.
Well, and that's one thing, because a lot of the questions have been, well, can you take this rapper's song and turn it into Christmassy? And he goes, well, you know, I don't really rap, but I can see what I can do. Someone asked him to do a Christmas, do Bohemian Rhapsody, but make it Christmassy, and it did okay.
Huh.
It didn't do the entire song, but it started off, and you could see where it was coming from. You could see that was from Bohemian Rhapsody. So the AI is pretty good. So I just remembered that because I saw the question in the chat. I'm going, okay, this is not going to work. And then he actually picked that question to say, and said, okay, well, I'll give it my best. And then he started and going, okay, not bad. Not bad at all.
That's cool.
I wish I had been able to record that. It would have been cool to show again. All right, before we get into this week's discussion, we've mentioned it a few times. We do have a Discord that's open for anybody to come join us. Sign up for Discord is free. It is available in all the app stores for free. We do have an open invitation on our website, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Post a lot of news items, stuff for discussion, stuff to laugh at. We'll have some fun activities. We've done movie nights. We've done other stuff. We may be doing a New Year's Eve thing here on Discord. Who knows? We've just talked a little bit about it, so we hadn't really just had any formal discussion, but just a lot of fun stuff. If you like the podcast, you like hanging out with us, we're here a lot of the times. Well, this time of year may be a little bit harder, but with it being the holidays and all that, but we're usually one or two of us are usually on here all day or all night, that type of thing. So come join the fun.
Yep. Join us.
Yeah.
All right. We're actually going to finish up our Christmas discussion this week. We have been talking about what kind of gets us in the mood, or last week we did like favorite Christmas songs and ones that we can't stand. So we're following that up this week with Christmas movies.
Yay!
Dun, dun, dun.
And let's go ahead and let Liz go first so everybody can take a pee break and come back about 5 hours.
I was gonna say, do you want me to chop away at all this at once, or just spread the joy out all night?
Whichever gets us out of here before 3 a.m.
Well, I didn't go with my least favorites. I don't know if I really have a least favorite Christmas movie. This was probably a hard list for a couple of reasons. For one, I love Christmas. But two, asking for favorite movies is kind of like asking you to pick your favorite child, and you just can't do that. So being lost in a sea of movies, I broke this down, and it depends on what kind of Christmas night you want. But before the holiday season is over, these are the movies that I've at least seen a couple of times. It's not Christmas unless these are on. So first I kick it off with horror because we're coming right off the heels of Halloween and being thankful and, throw a little horror into that. So my top 3 for horror Christmas movies are Violent Night, Krampus, and A Christmas Horror Story. Violent Night came out last year, I believe it was. That is the one with, I think his name is David Harbour.
Yeah.
He's the guy from Stranger Things, the cop.
Yeah.
And he is Santa Claus. And it starts off hilarious. I think this is supposed to be kind of like a comedy horror kind of thing. It starts off, Santa Claus is burnt out. Kids are selfish little pricks, and he's just over, the whole thing, and he's drunk. This will probably be the last Christmas. Well, then there's one little girl who so believes and so freaking cute, had just seen Home Alone, which is another good Christmas movie that didn't make my list, though. And so when she goes to her rich grandmother's house, when Santa shows up to deliver presents, a home invasion happens. So Santa finds a little girl who actually believes and kind of gives him his refound hope, and he helps his family out of it. Actually, he doesn't help the family out. He helps this little girl out of a home invasion situation. So that one's pretty good. Krampus, it came out maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I should have put the dates down on these. This was kind of like a 3-part story going on, but at the end it all made one story. And I think out of all of the creations that people have come up with Krampus and how he works, this one kind of went more into his background and kind of why he was there. And a lot of it made sense, when you see what actually drew him to the family in particular. It made a lot of sense, and he wasn't really punishing anyone that didn't deserve to be punished. At one point or time, they had done something, they had disparaged Christmas somehow. Everyone he punished deserved to be punished. So it wasn't a half goat man go crazy kind of thing. He had a mission. It was one person he was after, and well, it wasn't one, it was a family he was after, and the family he was after were just losers. Little kids wanted games, didn't want to be with the family, that kind of stuff. They lost the meaning of Christmas.
You gotta editorialize, don't you? Jeez.
Yeah. I'm keeping it brief.
Right.
And the third one on my list, I've talked about this one before. It's probably perhaps my favorite Christmas movie, and that's A Christmas Horror Story. I can't really even tell you much about this movie without spoiling it. So I will just say it has William Shatner in it. I don't know if this was Krampus in this story or something that looked a lot like Krampus. I myself would say it was Krampus because he was half goat, but he is probably the best I've seen visually done to where it didn't look costumey and fake, you know? So, and the story, like I said, is just unbelievable. If you like a twisty story like I do, this movie constantly was like, okay, we're headed here. Nope, now we're here. Total twist. The ending was, I still can't get over the ending of this movie because when it happens, you're just like, holy shit, how did I not pick this up? Rosebud. And there's not a lot of movies that can do that. So, like I said, this one's definite favorite. It has a lot of rewatchable to it. Twisted as hell. And like I said, very good Christmas movie. I don't know if Twisted as hell should be with Christmas, but it works. It really works. Do any of you guys have a horror movie you would put on there?
I really haven't seen many other than the original Black Christmas, which was good.
Yeah. That one is pretty good, too. And then I think Deadly Night was another one. It's pretty good, too.
That's not true. There's another one. I've actually seen a couple now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. And then it's kind of Christmassy. I mean, it's winter. Jack Frost.
Jack Frost was good.
Oh, man, the scene with Shannon Elizabeth, you're going, oh, my God, what the hell? What the hell am I watching?
Usually with the Christmas horror ones, they're good at that because most people are, expecting, oh, it's Christmas. The miracle's going to happen and everybody's going to be so happy and, not always.
Also a horror movie.
Well, Jack Frost was definitely happy in that scene.
Yeah.
You know the scene I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, oh yeah.
Do you remember who the director for Black Christmas was?
Yeah, it was. I can't remember his name right now, but he did A Christmas Story, and he did the Porky trilogy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Bob Clark.
Bob Clark.
Yeah. I remember Clark. I just couldn't remember his first name. But yeah.
That's pretty cool.
If you're looking at Christmas horror movies,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with something like You'd Better Watch Out.
Okay.
About the babysitter and the young man, the boy that's like 13, and he ends up defending the babysitter, but he has an ulterior motive.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun.
Okay.
Huh. I don't know if I've seen that one.
Oh, I recommend it.
I will definitely put that one on my watch list.
I'm
It's
sure
on
it's available
Amazon.
right now. Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
It is on Amazon.
Better Watch Out. Yeah. It's in 2016 that it was done.
Ooh, and they just popped up a lot of suggestions. I know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Yeah, you're watching the Doctor Who special.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, it's only 55 minutes, so.
Okay, so if horror wasn't your deal and you're looking for something a little funny, there's a few on here that I had to leave off that are hilarious that TV overplays. It's still pretty good. So my top 3 on this one is Elf, which I will always loved that. Me and my sister had a good connection with Elf. We'd constantly send memes from that movie back and forth. So that one's always a must watch.
I know that one. That's the one with Marshall Will and Hobby.
Is that
right?
the dad?
No, the Will Ferrell.
Oh.
That was a Kevin Smith joke.
Okay.
What was it? Chasing Dogma? Or which one was it? Or Jane Silent Bob Strikes Back, where he was the marshal, and his name was Will and Holly, which is a reference to Land of the Lost, which he played in the movie.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, that was Jay and Bob.
Jay and Bob.
Strike Back.
Okay. Yeah.
I think you're
Marshall,
right.
Will, and
Yep.
Holly. God, why do I keep saying Hobby? What the fuck? I need to shut up.
It's okay. Liz
No,
is
you're
taking
doing
over, Jack.
okay. Go ahead.
The
Okay.
number 2 on the list, which was a tie for number 1, actually, is the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I think everybody has a cousin Eddie. And Randy Quaid, that part was made for him. I mean, he nailed it. It was amazing. It's funny. And of course, for those who haven't seen it, that is about the Griswolds, who just came off their family vacation. But he's expecting a big Christmas bonus, and he's got ideals for a pool and all kinds of stuff, and he's just got to get through Christmas to get his Christmas bonus. Well, and of course, it's never that easy when you have family show up. And he had family show up. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Then Cousin Eddie shows up, and it even went even wronger. My favorite line from that movie is when he opens the door and he's like, "Are you surprised?" And he says, "If I woke up tomorrow morning with my head glued to the carpet, I would not be more surprised than I am right now." But that totally described Cousin Eddie. I would rather wake up with my head glued to the carpet. The type of family you don't want around. But yeah, I think every TV channel plays this at least 20 times a day, and I at least watch it 18.
Damn.
I saw something on this the other day. They referenced the scene where he was watching the old family film. Was it like and that took place 34 years ago in the movie? The movie's been out 34 years now.
Oh, wow. Could you imagine watching that movie back as your family club? Especially the cat in the box. Oh, my. And my third one on the list for being funny, actually, it's a tie for 2. The Santa Claus with Tim Allen and Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton. 2 totally different kind of Santa Clauses, depending on which mood you're in. If you want wholesome, you go with the Tim Allen one. If you want dirty, grungy, you go with the Bad Santa one, the Billy Bob Thornton. But I did have a question for everyone who has seen the first one. Freeform, this is part of their 25 Days of Christmas. They have played it, but Freeform, this will play again in the next few days, same lineup. But they played all 3 of them. 4 of them? 3 of them? I think there's 3 of them. And, the first one, he becomes Santa Claus. The second one, he's got to take a wife. And the third one, he's got to fight for his position as Santa Claus. That's pretty much how these 3 movies work. Now, in the first one, go all the way back to the very beginning. When the first Santa falls off the roof, why didn't he fight for his Santa Claus position like Tim Allen did? Why didn't he get a chance to remain Santa Claus? What about his wife? He had a Santa Claus, too, that he had to take a wife, So it was kind of like when Tim Allen showed back up at the North Pole, as Santa Claus, they were kind of like, yep, that's you. Screw the other guy. You're it now. We don't know what happened. We don't care what happened. You're it. But whenever two different people tried to come and take his spot, they were kind of like, no, you're not the Santa Claus. He's the Santa Claus. Well, why didn't they care about the first guy? Was he just done?
I think he was dead. I think you figured that out because Santa wasn't moving.
Well, he disappeared. All that was left on the ground was his coat and pants.
Yeah.
Something happened to break his claws.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie in so long that I couldn't tell you what, but
yeah.
Probably the ground.
It may have been death, yeah. Seriously, it could very easily have been the ground.
Especially death, it just seems like the elves would have went, damn, that's too bad, man. Poor Santa. Or something. Instead of like, nope, it's you. Put the coat back on. Drink some cocoa. It's you. But other than that, really funny movie. I probably should have put this in my family genre, but it is funny. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to get into the family one, or do you guys want to name your funny?
Les, what do you want to do?
Well, let's just go with the funnies.
Okay.
Anybody?
A Christmas comedy.
Why don't you list yours?
I'm going to go with Christmas Story.
That was what I was going to go with too. So
Yeah. I had my family.
I wanted to give you the glory of naming it.
Well, thank you.
You're
yeah, thanks very much.
I'll get you yet, my little pretty.
And your little
dog too.
I would also look at the subsequent movie, the Christmas Story. I thought that was interesting to bring back a lot of the cast.
Yeah, the part 2.
Thought that was a winning deal right there.
Not a Christmas Story 2, a Christmas Story. There is a difference. Yeah. And you mentioned that, we're at that time of year we're starting to see certain stories and videos and all that. I saw one on YouTube. It's Legacy, and they're doing the notable deaths from January to April. That's one that just came out, and I had forgotten that we lost Melinda Dillon this year, who played the mom. Played the mom in that in A Christmas Story. She was also the mom in Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Mm-hmm.
At like 80, 83, I believe. Because she had been retired from acting for a few years. Because I was trying to think, because I remembered that they actually got, who was it from Airplane to play mom again? To play the mom, Julie
Haggerty.
Julie Haggerty, yeah. She played the mom role in A Christmas Story, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, hey, I love her, so hey, that works. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of A Christmas Story. I love it. I've seen it so many times. I remember. I don't know if I told the story completely to you guys. I'm pretty sure I hadn't mentioned it on the podcast. Back when it was originally out in, isn't it celebrating its 40th anniversary, or is that next year?
I think it was. I thought it was 83.
It may it's either one of those. Yeah. When it was out, I was actually at a friend's house, and we were actually painting miniatures for I don't know, it's D&D or something like that. Well, his parents invited me to go see this film. They had already seen it, but they were wanting to go see it again. And what was so funny is the mom was like, well, we're going to go see A Christmas Story. And Dad was like, is that the one where the kid gets his tongue stuck in it? She's like, shh. Because they didn't want to spoil it for me.
That's cute.
So I got permission to go with them, and I went to see the movie, and I was like, oh my God, this is great. This is funny as hell.
Yeah, we made it part of our family tradition when James was, I want to say 6. He was wanting a Red Ryder BB gun. Mm. So, of course, we made him watch the movie. We had everybody telling him, no, you'll shoot your eye out. We told him that at least for a good solid 3 months, You'll shoot your eye out. You're crazy. So, yeah. He got the BB gun, but...
And what's so funny, nobody would think about it now, but, that movie did not do real well in the theaters.
No.
It became a cult hit, and now all of a sudden it's this, it's shown on TNT and TBS. It starts like at 6 p.m. local time on both networks Christmas Eve, and goes until 6 p.m. or 7 Christmas night. It's literally 24 hours of just them showing that film, and of course all of the merchandise. You got the house, which just changed ownership, but you can go. You can go to that. You can go to tour a house, and of course there's all the merchandise and all that. Yeah, and the leg lamp, which I'm actually looking at a bobblehead version that I bought the other day.
Is it fragile too?
Well, what happens is it's kind of, I don't want to say light activated, but it actually absorbs light and keeps the lampshade moving the entire time. So
that's kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
So
I had a snow globe with it inside of it. I actually wanted one of the box that it came in, but you can't find that. It's just the layout.
That's kind of a specialty item.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
And I do too. I'm just sad that they keep playing it again and again. To me, it's a good one-time movie at a time.
Yeah, there's not, in my opinion, there's not a lot of films that you can watch just over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people that can do that, and
they're leave it on just because it's easy with the hustle and bustle of the day. No matter when you come into the living room, you can look at it and you can tell where they're at and where, so it's something kind of
you're not sitting there watching it 7 times back to
right.
back, so
yeah. But we do watch it a good full time together as a family.
Sure.
No.
Yeah. That's probably why they do it. It's familiar, and it's kind of like me with SpongeBob. It's nothing you have to sit there and watch. But when you look up and see it, you know where they're at and what they're doing, But
it also gives the crew the time to be with their family, because all they have to do is just put it in the automatic pilot.
Yeah. See, and I hadn't thought about that until you said that the other night, and it was like that's true. That's awesome that they do that.
And that's why some networks or local stations do the the fireplace.
Fire log. Yeah.
Yeah. Just so they can let everybody else kind of have the night off or the morning off or whatever.
Yeah. And that's awesome. Give them a chance.
To be with their family. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mikey.
What?
Funny Christmas film. What's yours?
Who you talking to?
Any genre. Can you name a Christmas movie?
Wow. It's right at the knees.
It was, wasn't it?
I was trying to go easy.
No, I don't care about Christmas. I mean, you know what? I will pick one. And it's kind of funny. And I'm going with original animation here, but The Grinch. The Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Yep. He's on
Which
my family
voices?
list. I put any of them. I liked all of them. I like the original. I like the Jim Carrey one. I even like the Grinch. Any of them. You got to see all of them.
I think the Jim Carrey one is worth seeing once. But you got to be a fan of Jim Carrey hamming it the hell up for an hour and a half for sure.
I've already watched it like 3 times this season.
It's a bit much if you're not prepared for it. It's fun. It's fun once, like I said.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely.
Remember this film. I'll be mentioning it later.
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta go with Boris Karloff narrating. Come on.
Oh God, yeah.
How do you not?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good story.
Okay. That's it, Liz? All right, Liz, go ahead.
With what?
You what?
I was trying to move us on. Yes.
Oh, no, it was Mikey. Don't
Mikey.
take his movie.
Take my movie, please.
Yeah. Mike's not a big fan of Christmas. He's already
Right.
I'm cool. We're good.
I have to poke fun because normally he's poking fun at me.
Yeah, that's also fine.
Tables have turned.
What you need is you need to quit turning my damn table. That's what you need to do. Holy cow, that's obnoxious. Uh-huh. Awful noise on the kitchen floor. I'm just saying.
We'll go into the next genre, which I have as family. And actually, we've talked about 2 of the 3. I put the Grinch, any of them, A Christmas Story, and I have the Polar Express. I think every family, as a family, should sit down and watch that one. I think it opens a lot of traditions you can make with your child, especially at that age. Like right now, Leanne doesn't she hates it, which makes me so sad. She won't watch this. But I think with an older child who's kind of gotten at the point that the little boy in the story does, where they're not quite sure if they believe, it kind of shows a child that it's okay to believe. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It's what you believe. You follow you follow your heart. And if you want to believe, then believe. And I think in the story, he wound up believing well into his adulthood and there's nothing wrong with believing in Santa Claus. It takes nothing from your life, but it actually adds joy and hope and happiness. So there's nothing wrong with that. I may be reading too much into the story, but that's what I get from the Polar Express. It's kind of a kid who's uncertain, but finds out it's okay to imagine. It's okay to believe in things that others think is silly. It just reaffirms.
You can grow up and still be a kid at Christmas.
Yeah.
And still enjoy
Still
it.
be a kid at heart.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree. That all sounds like the movie I saw.
Yeah.
Now, if it could have done it in half the runtime, it would have been a lot more palatable. But
Yeah.
that's just my opinion.
The book is so much better.
Not knocking anybody's favorite movie or anything.
Right. I think right now for like Leanne's 4, and she found it scary. And
well, the animation is a little suspect at times. I mean,
yes, and especially like the where he's on top of the train and he's talking to the hobo. That's scary. And then you find out it's a ghost, and I could see how that could be scary for a smaller child, but more on the like 8 and up, when, like I said, when they're really starting to question, are my friends right? Is there really a Santa Claus? And like the other little boy who was on the train, he believed in Santa Claus, although he never received a present from him until that one year when he went there. So sometimes it's okay to believe without getting anything in return for that. So yeah, they kind of run together, family and funny. I don't know if the Polar Express is funny, but
it is not that I recall anyway.
But the Christmas Story and the Grinch are. So I had a hard time where to place those on my list, but I think those 3 you could sit down as any age family and watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But since we kind of already went over that, do you want me to go to cartoons? Or
are you covering classics also?
No, actually, I thought that you guys would cover the classics. Y'all know more of those than I do.
Because we're old? Is that what you're saying?
That's totally
no,
what that was
not
about.
At all.
Absolutely.
Way to go.
Not
Thanks
at all.
a lot.
I didn't. I've seen a lot of the classics, but I'm not well versed in them. If they've played it on TV, I've seen it. I will say, like, which is the one? Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. Was that Miracle on 34th Street? Yeah, I liked that one.
Which version?
I saw it when I was
in the 80s. She probably would go for that, but anyway.
Right. I'm probably leaning towards the 80s because I saw it when I was younger.
Oh, I don't remember exactly when it came out, but I knew there was a remake.
Yeah. And it's the song they put in it that was so catchy, which was basically yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. I liked It's a Wonderful Life. What are the other classics?
Holiday Inn. You seen that?
I don't think I've seen that one.
I drive past one on every day going down to the
Some of them. Some of them I've probably seen, but not known the names to them, especially on when they play them on TV and stuff.
Well, this was Fred Astaire, not Fred Astaire, Bing Crosby and Bob Hope. Is that right? Or is it?
No, it's
Bing Crosby and.
Oh. yeah, the other guy.
Oh God, I can see him right now.
Is it musical?
It's not Gene Kelly, was it? No. I'm drawing a blank.
Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire. Okay, yeah. So I was right.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Reynolds, Virginia Dale, Louise Beavers. That was not the one. I was thinking about White Christmas.
Uh-huh.
White Christmas is Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye. But Holiday Inn is Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire.
Holiday Inn is the place where they first did White Christmas.
Yep. Yeah. And now you know why I was getting those confused.
Let me think here.
You mentioned Miracle on 34th Street. You prefer the Natalie Wood version?
Oh, hell yes. For me, yes.
Yeah.
When you guys pointed it out, I didn't know there was a 1947 one.
With Natalie Wood and I can't.
Edmund Gwenn, Maureen O'Hara.
Yes. I could see Maureen O'Hara's face because I always saw her next to John Wayne.
Uh-huh.
I just could not remember the name. I told Les the other day I'm really getting pissed off with having issues with names.
Yeah, the remake was 94, so I wasn't too far off.
How about March of the Wooden Soldiers? That's going back. That's 1934.
Was that the Nutcracker story, or?
No, this is the Laurel and Hardy story.
Cool.
Oh.
I haven't seen that, but I should.
And what was the name of it?
March of the Wooden Soldiers.
Clackety clack.
Oh, and the Miracle on 34th Street. The original is on Disney Plus right now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
This says Hulu, too.
What was the name? What's the name of that one again, Les? With Laurel and Hardy?
March of the Wooden Soldiers, 1934.
Okay, because I was swearing that was Babes in Toyland.
See, when I search for March of the Wooden Soldiers, it pulls up Babes in Toyland, but IMDb has it labeled as March of the Wooden Soldiers.
Okay. Cool.
Those are two different movies. Babes in Toyland was 60s.
Well, there's a 34 version with Laurel and Hardy.
Okay.
Yeah, they said, hang on, there was something that happened. They had to retitle it due to copyright.
Okay. Yeah, there is a 61 version with
Annette Funicello.
Ray Bolger, Tommy Sands, Ed Wynn, Tommy Kirk, on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
That was Disney?
Yep. December 14th, 1961.
I remember seeing that in the theaters.
If you do want to watch that one, it is on Prime Video in color, though. And they do have it labeled as March of the Wooden Soldiers. So what was the Nutcracker movie? I know I've seen that story 1,000 times, but I don't know from what.
Probably
I know it was an older movie.
Remakes.
Yeah, maybe that's why. Because
it's been adapted in a lot of different ways over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean,
in almost every Christmas
ballet,
thing.
opera, animation, live action, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. You got any more?
Of classics?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let me think now.
I'm like adding to my list.
It's not so old, but Trading Places.
Oh yeah, that was set at
Eddie
Christmas
Murphy?
time. Yeah, Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh yeah, that was at Christmas.
You know what else was at Christmas?
Don't go there.
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns, man. Just saying. What about Santa Claus Conquers the Martians?
Yeah.
I almost added the genre of People think it's Christmas, but it's not Christmas.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about another movie that was set at Christmas time, and it's a film that we all love, The Thin Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about it's not Christmas, but it kind of bears Christmas name. Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny.
What?
Remember that one too. Remember a couple others.
I'm just like adding and adding.
A Christmas in Connecticut
Mm-hmm.
with Barbara Stanwyck. And one that we've actually talked about on the show before, the 1951 version of Scrooge or A Christmas Carol with Alistair Sim.
Mm.
That's one of my favorites.
That was entertaining.
That is my favorite.
What year was that again?
51.
Yeah, 51. Yeah.
If you want to dip it into funny, you could go Scrooged with Bill Murray in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
That one was funny.
I
That
was-
almost made my list.
I'm sorry, but that one did not make my list. I guess I was just too tired of Bill Murray and everything.
Yeah.
Could be.
Because that was during his prime, I guess.
It was during his holiday
Well,
cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did a
Groundhog's Day.
Groundhog,
Yep. And if you're curious about Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny, that is also on Tubi for free, or you can rent it for 99 cents on Prime.
Or you can watch the Riff Tracks version.
There's a Riff Tracks version.
They've
Oh, there totally
they've
is.
done two of them.
That's on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. They've
Awesome.
done two of them. Yeah, because there's two different stories in the middle of it. One's like Jack and the Beanstalk, and the other one was, I think, was it Thumbelina or something like that.
I found it. I'll link it in our Discord.
That'll
Well,
confuse people until the episode comes out. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I was going to
That's
put it in
okay.
discussion.
I don't mind confusing people
Yeah.
in the Discord. It's fun.
Well, I've been teasing it. Do y'all want to hear it? Just like last week, I looked at several different lists and compiled films that were listed on all of them, that they all matched, of worst Christmas films ever. So are y'all ready for this?
Mhm.
I've actually narrowed this down to 24. There was 24 that showed up on all of these same lists.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Yes, that's a lot more than what I had last week with the songs. So, in alphabetical order, we've got A Bad Mom's Christmas. No, remember Bad Moms?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, yeah, good. Okay, this has already been mentioned. A Christmas Carol, the animated Jim Carrey version.
Wow.
A Christmas Story 2,
Oh.
the one that nobody acknowledges happened.
Mm.
We've got A Christmas Story, then we have A Christmas Story, A Christmas Story. Christmas Story 2 didn't happen.
Mhm.
Okay, we have Bad Santa 2,
2 was bad.
the 2006 version of Black Christmas.
Ah.
Christmas Evil. Christmas with the Cranks.
Oh, that was horrible.
That was
God,
horrible.
that was horrible.
Deck the Halls from 2006.
It'll be back.
A Crazy Nights.
Yeah, I like that one. Although it's a Hanukkah movie, not a Christmas movie.
Well,
It's on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, believe me, there was one that was not a movie that was listed on several of them too. The Star Wars Christmas special. That's not a fucking movie.
It's a special.
It was a TV special.
But it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Not for the right reasons.
That's what I said. It wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah.
No, just to have my father-in-law sit there and go talking about the Speedster, looking at it and go, "That guy's fast." I went, okay. Thank you, Louis.
I want to see the documentary, which is out now. It's called A Disturbance in the Force. It's a documentary about the holiday special. I want to see that, but haven't had a chance just yet. Okay. I said 8 Crazy Nights. Okay, next one is Ernest Saves Christmas.
Aw.
Yay.
Wouldn't be any fun without an Ernest movie on the list, now would it?
Whirl.
Next is... What? Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Les. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that's a guy that made millions of dollars from a commercial he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wasn't it Brahms?
It was Brahms.
What you doing there, Vern?
Which is very regional even still to this day. Yeah. It's an ice cream shop here. I think it's based in Oklahoma, but yeah, they have shops here.
Did we ever see Vern?
No, I don't think so. Because we were supposedly Vern.
Know what I mean, Vern?
Know what I mean, Vern? What you doing, Vern?
Yeah, dude went and made several movies in Hollywood based on that character.
Yeah.
Gotta give him credit for that.
Just from the commercials, there was T-shirts and all kinds of things. Hey, Vern.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next. Fred Claus.
Aw.
Liz has talked about that one before.
Yes, I know.
I like these.
Well,
This
These are
list
the
is going to hurt
best
her feelings.
Christmas movies ever.
yeah, just hang on, Liz. We're not done yet.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're going to take some
no.
more body blows here in a minute. Come on.
If Nightmare Before Christmas is on this list, I'm going to riot. Just skip it.
Hey, you haven't mentioned it yet. So. Oh yeah, we interrupted
haven't
your
got
animation,
cartoons
right?
yet.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
Next, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Yeah, that was terrible.
See, for
That
me,
had the
2 was
Donald in
good.
it.
Yeah.
Like I said, that was terrible.
3 was horrible. Didn't even have Culky in it.
No,
Next.
but it had a solid plot. Had some good acting.
Next on the list, Home Alone 3.
I've been redeemed.
It had good acting.
By who? I don't remember seeing it.
I mean, the kid was cute.
The kid with the Adam Rich haircut. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was Scarlett Johansson's movie.
Yeah.
Ah,
Okay, the live action version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Jim Carrey?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh yeah, a lot of people hate it.
Why?
Because he's obnoxious for 90 minutes.
He is, but
Which is his deal.
Grinch was
Don't get me
too.
wrong.
Yeah.
But not in the same. He was Jim Carrey obnoxious. He was not Grinch
Yeah.
obnoxious. And
He wasn't Boris Karloff.
like I said,
I guess you have to be a fan.
if you
of
are a
Jim
fan
Carrey.
of Jim Carrey, it was really
It was
fun.
awesome. Yeah.
Mhm.
If not, you
It
probably
sucked.
are going to hate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Because again, it's a lot longer.
I just thought he had more fans than that.
Okay, next on the list, Jack Frost, starring Michael Keaton.
Aw, that was cute though. That's the one where he dies and he comes back as a snowman to be with his son. Aw.
As opposed to the
These
killer
people
who is
suck.
as opposed to the killer who is killed and then comes back as a snowman and starts killing everybody else.
Yeah.
Probably should have reconsidered the title on one or both of those movies. Yes.
Yeah, because if you search one and get the other one in return, you're going to be surprised either way.
Disappointed.
Honestly, I had read stuff to where employees at Blockbuster did that on purpose.
That would be funny.
I bet, because they're teenage assholes.
Yeah,
Well,
it's traumatizing, but so bad. I mean,
They probably didn't even get to the death of Shannon Elizabeth's character. They probably didn't get that far.
Let's hope
Anyway,
because that'll ruin American Pie for him too. But anyway,
next on the list, Jingle All the Way.
yeah, I agree.
That is awful.
Mm-hmm.
Which sucks.
Which one again?
Schwarzenegger is generally speaking pretty good, and Sinbad, I like Sinbad. He's annoying, but I like him. Putting the two together did not work.
No. Well, Schwarzenegger's just not funny.
He's funny in other movies.
He can be funny if he has the right dialogue.
He did not
He's like
in
a
that movie.
stiff
Yes,
kind of funny.
Sure. He's not stand-up comedian funny, but
Yeah.
he can be funny. He can be a funny actor.
Mm.
Anyway, yeah. Not good.
Okay. Okay, next on the list. It's already been mentioned. Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny.
Yay.
Hmm.
Now I want ice
Yep.
cream.
Me too.
Yep. Do you want an Ice Cream Bunny?
I
Although
don't care what
Santa
it's
and the
shaped
Ice
like.
Cream Bunny would make an awesome horror film too. That would be a really good title for one.
Okay, the one I kind of go, okay, no. It's not great, but it's not horrible. It's already been mentioned. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
One of these days I'm going to have to actually break down and watch that movie.
You need to watch the MST3K version.
Oh, sure. Totally.
Santa Claus? Okay. Okay, this one I never knew.
That was the one with Pia Zadora, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
as one of the Martian children. Yep. About the only claim to fame with that one, that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Next one I never knew existed until I put this list together. Santa with muscles.
Wow, chicken! Wow.
Wow. Just wow.
I don't think it's that type. But what the hell?
It kind of sounds like it.
Okay. Were you gonna say something, Les? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, sorry.
Okay,
I'm
you're
good.
fine. No, you're fine. Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 2.
Part 2 was a waste of time. I will say that.
There you go.
Yep. The Santa Claus 2. The Santa Claus 3.
2 is better than 3, but yeah.
Saving Christmas, which was a film produced and starring Kirk Cameron.
Huh.
Okay.
And finally, we should probably not be surprised about this. Tyler Perry's A Medea Christmas.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
There
no,
you go.
I'm not surprised.
I thought for sure Nightmare Before Christmas would be on there.
Mm-mm.
Uh-huh.
It may have been on one or two, but not on
Not that many.
majority of them. Yeah.
See, I think that's kind of one like Die Hard. People can't decide what it is. Is it a Christmas movie? Is it a Halloween movie? And I say, who cares? Just watch it all year long. You can't go wrong.
You were not saying who cares last week. That's all I'm saying. Not about Die Hard, you weren't.
No, not about Die Hard. I won't.
You just did.
No, I'm talking about Nightmare Before Christmas.
Bad example. Yeah. We'll just chalk it up to that and let Liz go on with her animated.
Yeah. Go ahead and finish up your list, Liz.
Since you said animated, of course, Nightmare Before Christmas. he's making Christmas. He sings Christmas songs. It's a Christmas movie.
If Bruce Willis sings Christmas songs, can Die Hard be a Christmas movie?
Yes.
There was Christmas music in that movie.
Wasn't the
Elevator
intro
music doesn't count.
Christmas music is elevator music. What are you talking about?
How about the closing scene?
I don't remember the closing scene.
That's because stuff happened after Hans Gruber fell to his death, all right?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, she turned it off at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, it's over.
Yep.
Singing When the Weather Outside is Frightful. Let It Snow.
No,
Come
Let
on
It Snow.
now.
Could have been worse. It could have been singing It's Raining Men.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. I didn't know how to pick one, so I lumped these together. And it's the older Rudolph and the Isle of Misfit Toys, Frosty. You had Santa Claus is Coming to Town, The Year Without Santa Claus. All of those during that time period. What was that, Rankin who did those?
Were those all Rankin and Bass?
Yeah, Rankin and Bass, the
Yeah.
specials. Yep. Yeah.
Have to watch those. That I think they even sell them all on one disc now, and you should watch it all together. And then a new edition. I don't know if this came out last year or the year before last, but Netflix did a Christmas story called Klaus, and it was really, really good. It was kind of I don't know if he was Santa Claus or if that was the beginning of Santa Claus, but it was a really good story.
It's the origin.
Yeah, kind of pulled an old man out of his shell, and he was kind of being Santa Claus without being Santa Claus to like one or two that he saw, but yeah, Klaus really pulled him out and made him what he was. So really good story. If you haven't seen it, like I said, it's a Netflix original. You won't see it on TV probably. I say that, but they do put some of their stuff out on network. So, but it is a good one. Not to be confused with the comic Klaus, which is also a good one. But no, like I said, I cut it short on that with cartoons because that's like my trap. If I'm flipping through channels and there's a Christmas cartoon on, whether it's Pippin Landing or the toy that Santa forgot or whatever, I'll stop and watch it. I love anything animated Christmas.
Well, do we have to mention Charlie Brown Christmas then?
Yes. All of the Peanut holiday specials are like sacred. They're their own list. But yeah, their Christmas one was really good. And, a lot of those, I would almost put that one with like Rudolph and Frosty because it seemed like network TV all pulled together with December pretty much, and they all took turns playing this stuff. So usually you got to watch all of these around the same time together.
Well, remember the Charlie Brown Christmas was the very first one. That was the very first. Yeah, it was the very first Peanut special.
Charlie Brown special.
Yeah. And I think tells a really good Christmas story. Whether, you believe in the Christian side of it or just the love and family side of it, he kind of covered both. And it was just really good. I know a lot of people say it hasn't aged well, but please. It's Peanuts.
That's okay. Neither have we.
Yeah. Sometimes, I think sometimes when you have constraints on you, good people like Charles Schultz worked around those constraints the best he could, and he put out the best thing he did. So.
Well, it depends on what they're complaining about. Because I saw something here a couple of weeks ago on one of the few times I got on Facebook, someone posted an image from the Thanksgiving special.
Mm-hmm.
And they pointed out that the black kid was all by himself. Everybody else was on the opposite side of the table.
Yeah.
You going, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the facts is facts. It's right there, but it's just like, people reading into it. Yeah, okay.
It kind of reminds me of a Mr. Rogers story I heard. In Mr. Rogers, the mailman, one of the mailmans was black.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked him one day, it was totally improv, but Mr. Rogers was, talking to the kids on camera, and he had his feet in a pool. And he told the guy, hey, why don't you come over and sit down and talk with me and, put your feet in the pool and everything else. Now, to a lot of people, that would have looked like two friends sitting down and talking. But in the time that was made, you didn't do that. You just didn't do that. Segregation was still a thing. So for Mr. Rogers to do that, at the time was huge, but people would look at it now and go, oh, well, it's just two friends sitting there. If you look at the Peanuts story, Peanuts was a lot earlier than Mr. Rogers was. Now, if it was a big thing for him to have his feet in the same swimming pool with a black man, don't you think that a black man or black child at a table with all of these white people wasn't a big thing at that time too? I'm sure there was a lot of people who didn't appreciate that he put that in there, but he still did it at a time when people didn't do things like that. And Peanuts, I think, was one of the cartoons of the time that was always very inclusive of everyone, no matter if you were dirty, or if you were white, if you were black, if you were a bitch, whatever. You all got along and it worked, That was him, blended. So for him to catch that kind of slack now is kind of like, really? You don't understand the time when that was done,
Yep.
That you're lucky it was done at that time. Because, a lot of sponsors and stuff would have rather that little kid not be at the table, Just because there's people like that out there that they were trying to appease at the time,
Yeah, we've actually relayed lots of stories about stuff like that on the show in the past. So
yeah, where it doesn't seem like much, but you got to think of the time. It was huge.
Yep. You got anything after animation, or does anybody else have any animation?
Nope.
I think we've kind of been throwing it in as we go here.
Yeah. The only thing I would mention, which is probably kind of like you guys, is Die Hard. For me, is Harry Potter, which is more of a sister thing, a sister connection. So we'd watch it Christmas, and he does have his first Christmas in the movie. So there is a Christmas scene,
the first
a whole Christmas theme.
And it's not the only time that they had the winter in the movie.
Yeah. They had a lot of winter balls and stuff. But any holiday, they play it on TV. But I do think it fits more of a Christmas. Like I said, I don't know if that fits more of my family time or it was Christmas. But that's my list.
And she checked it twice.
Yep. Although one other movie that should have made it to a Christmas but not a Christmas movie is Gremlins.
Thanks, Columbo.
Yeah, one more
thing.
Yep, and that's it. That was the rest of my list. But I had it under drama.
All right. Any final thoughts before we decide to take a break?
No.
I'm good.
Okay, we are going to take a quick break and come back with geek news for you. we're back, and it's time for Geek News for You. In this segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. And this week, it's Liz and myself.
I heard that.
Go ahead, Liz.
Well, I know you're so excited to hear this. If you follow us on Discord, or if you're out of range of a high-pitched squeal that you heard emit from me, they're talking about doing a season 16 of Supernatural. Woo! Now, this has been rumor. I will plainly state that right now. This has been rumor since the show ended. When the show ended, there was talks with both Jared and Jensen to do like an animated style of Supernatural and do that over on HBO. HBO was very interested in doing that. But, of course, if you follow the boys, you know that Jared went over to Texas Walker Ranger, and Jensen tried to do the Winchesters, which did not do well. I won't go into why that did well or didn't do well. I've stated many times on this show why I thought that was crap. So at the time, they had their own projects going, so it really wasn't an option, even for voice acting, for them to do this. But there's been more talk. I think since the cancellation of the Winchesters, it's really gotten Jensen back into thinking maybe the people just want to see Dean and Sammy, which we do. That's what we fell in love with for 15 years, is Dean and Sammy. So they have started talking again. And, like I said, that was the rumor mill. We heard there was talks of a season 16. Anytime they were asked at conventions or anything about it, it was always, well, yeah, we would love to get back together. The general fanfare that you do, keep people excited and interested. Here recently at the cons that they've been doing, they've changed their answer. And it's not so much of a, if we get back together, now it's, well, we will get back together. We're just deciding where we're going to get back together, because the question was posed to them, if you come back, will it be the CW? And they said, no, it won't. They don't know if it'll be the CW. Of course, that was their home for 15 years, when it was WB, and then it changed over to the CW. I think they will probably get first shot at having Supernatural back, but I would not be surprised if HBO wound up picking this up. 2 reasons. I think, for one, because HBO was very interested in it before, and they wanted to do something with the guys then, and they were turned down. It's not that, the guys were turned down. HBO was turned down on the deal. But 2, I think HBO has kind of sat back now and has watched what Jensen has done on Amazon. And anytime you get him to guest star in anything, it explodes. And, not only that, Texas Walker Ranger has done really well with Jared. The Winchesters failed, yes. Jared and Jensen were nowhere in that show. I think had these guys made appearances and been a part of regularly of this show, it wouldn't have been canceled. So I think that's what's happening. I think we will get a 16. I think they will undo the atrocity that they did to Dean in the last episode of Supernatural. And I think we'll kind of pick up from there and go. And finally, if we only get 1 season, I will be happy for it. Even if they just want to come back and rewrite that last episode. And I'm not saying that just because the way Dean died, which was utter bullshit, but they didn't get to do what they wanted to do because they had so many COVID restraints at the time. Half the filming, the crew was over here and the cast was over here, never could get together. I just think it just needs to be redone. Even if you just do 1 episode, redo that and give us if Dean's going to go out, give him a proper death, you know. But if you want to continue, you know, it's not like we've never seen someone die, especially Sam or Dean die and come back. You know, they've done it a few times. So to say it's impossible, it's not. This is supernatural we're talking about. He has been ripped out of hell more than once. So
Sam's going to wake up and find Dean in the shower. It was all a dream.
It was all a dream, man. You know, I think the one that they're going to have the hardest time bringing back will be Misha Collins. Just because the way he died a few episodes before the season ended, and his death had to happen for certain things not to happen. So I don't know how they'll undo that, because he's like pretty much in the nothing right now. But like I said, this is supernatural. They have found ways around heaven and hell before. I'm sure they can pull it together.
Well, I will add another reason why it may go to HBO or whatever. I don't see it going to CW after what's gone down the last year or so with the sale and all that, because they've already killed off a lot of shows. So I don't see them wanting to bring back Supernatural, because it'll probably be just too much money.
Yeah. But before it was CW, didn't Warner Brothers own that? Wasn't that the WB?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've inadvertently have already worked with HBO. But I think this kind of gives HBO a chance to do what Jensen has done with The Boys and been a little bit more rough and raw and a little bit cursing.
Well, we'll see, because remember, David Zaslav is still over Warner Brothers, and he's really kind of down talk HBO or Max as it's known now. So we'll just see.
Yeah. I not just because I am totally biased on this subject. I think right now, if people are paying attention to the projects and the things that these boys touch since they've been in Supernatural, it would almost be stupid to pass on it. Just the fandom alone. You're talking about a show that's been off the air for 3 years now? 2-3 years? And you still have a very strong fandom. They haven't broken up. Even when they went off in different projects, the SPN family has always stuck together. So,
right. Remember, this is the corporation that killed a $90 million movie that
true.
was finished for tax purposes.
True.
So I'm not. I give you grief because of your love for Supernatural, but I appreciate and all that, and I don't want to sound like a wet blanket, but I'm trying to be realistic here.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what? And I could be totally wrong. They may go with it, and it may be gangbusters. It may get them a bunch of new viewers, because God knows
They need it.
Zack Snyder's Justice League sure did the same damn thing for a little bit. So I mean, they may do it, and it may be successful and all that, and that's great, because the fans get what they want, they're getting what they want, so everybody's happy. I'm just trying to be realistic here.
If HBO doesn't pick it up, I would not be disappointed if Prime picked it up. To see what they've done with The Boys and Gen V and, some of their originals. Plus, Kripke's over there now. Yeah. I wouldn't be mad if Prime picked it up either. Hell, I wouldn't be mad if Pluto picked it up at this point.
Honestly, that's more reason to think that it'll go to Amazon instead of HBO.
And, like I said, I wouldn't be mad about that at all, because over at Amazon, it seems like with this kind of stuff, Amazon's just been like, you do you make that magic in a bottle, and we will keep funneling money to you to where you keep doing it. And, Supernatural wasn't canceled. The boys decided they wanted to do other things, so they ended on their own terms. So it was never canceled. Their viewership never dipped. So I don't know. Like I said, I'd be happy with either HBO or Prime. I'd like to see them with a more where they can go, fuck that, or
and that will probably happen if they went with Amazon, if Amazon agreed to it.
And I would love to see that.
Like I said, I'm not trying to rain on your parade. I'm just trying to be realistic because I'm just because there was a lot of people wanting to see that Batgirl film. People were wanting to see that Acme. Coyote versus Acme, that's Looney Tunes. It's owned by Warner Brothers, and they won't put the damn movie out.
Yeah.
How stupid is that?
And when they talked to them about doing it, it was before they did all this, too.
They rather sell it and get the money and have someone else do it, which, okay, then freaking sell a Looney Tune property. Sell it to someone else who do it. But they ain't going to do that because they know they get a shit ton of money off the merchandise.
The property on that. I don't think they thought the interest would be there. And it's Looney Tunes. They still play Looney Tunes on TV, Mm-hmm. So not only do you have the older generation, you have the newer generation who's still watching Looney Tunes. It's why would that not make you money, And
if you want to talk about interest, there was a lot of interest in the Batgirl film. It was still and a lot of people considered it still being in the Snyderverse, and there was all those fans that probably would have supported it. Brendan Fraser just came off the well. It was his comeback film. He was on top of the freaking planet. Mm-hmm. And he was playing Firefly, the villain of the film. That was something they could have milked and said, watch this. Mm-hmm. You liked him in this film. You liked him in his other films. Come watch him see it.
They would have.
And they said, fuck that.
They needed the write-off more. Which now they're getting investigated by the Attorney General for, so they pulled that card out of their hat one too many times. Yeah, like I said, either network I'd be happy with. I'd probably be more happier with Prime, just because Kripke has sailed over there,
Prime would be the better fit.
Yeah.
Prime has come forward with some great viewing.
They have.
So, what's the science fiction one of the man and his wife that have the connection to another planet?
Oh, it was kind of like Westworld, but what was that? Oh, I can see it.
J.K. Simmons was the lead in it. And Sissy Spacek, of all people.
Weird World or something.
That was a good series. Well, I'm sorry that they haven't come back with it.
Yeah.
Well, currently they got Lawman Bass Reeves. I've seen a lot of stuff about that.
Night Sky.
Thank you.
That's it.
Yeah.
Night Sky is really good, really tight story.
Well, and I thought they did a really good job with the Paper Girls.
Yes, they did.
I was so shocked when they decided not to continue that one. I've noticed, though, when Amazon itself steps back and lets these creative people create, they do a lot better. But when they step into it, I hate to throw it out there, but Rings of Power, when they step into it and kind of go, oh, wait, I like that, but, when they stick their finger in it, they screw it up. Just let your creatives do what you hired them for and create,
Yeah.
Then when they're done, you can go, oh, okay, maybe we shouldn't do this. But you can tell a big difference in things that they've really had a heavy hand in and things they've kind of stepped back and go, you do you, you know. And those projects have done better.
Okay, guys, remember that when she talks about Invincible again, okay?
They just step in there and kick his ass is what they need to do.
But they're giving them free
I almost forgot about Invincibles. Thanks, Thomas.
They let him have free reign, so he's doing that. So anyway, I just wanted to tease you again.
Yeah. Oh, but see, I think Invincible is suffering from them taking a step back.
We're not going to actually start talking about Invincible now.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying in that sense, I think they've suffered from this style where other people have really taken off and done well with it. I think Kirkman needs that micromanage, stay on top of, get this done. So.
Alrighty. My news item. This is something I had totally forgot about because it's been months since it was originally reported. But just within the last few days, Marvel Comics and the estate of Steve Ditko approached the judge about dismissing the case as they're trying to settle the lawsuit over ownership of Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. If y'all remember earlier this year, the estates of Ditko, Gene Colan, Don Heck, Larry Lieber, who's still with us, had filed a suit against Marvel regarding the characters Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Hulk, Thor, and others, saying that they actually own those characters, where Marvel was saying, well, they were work for hire, so they don't own them, we own them, that kind of stuff. During the summer, most of that had been settled. The only thing that remained was the Steve Ditko suit, which apparently, like I said, now that's being settled out of court, in which there's really been no details about what's going on, which we probably never will know. But another, this is another case of the creators fighting for what they feel they're owed, especially since the publishers made billions off of them.
Yeah.
And then expanded to the film world.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to be interesting because we've been seeing all the names from the 40s, 50s, and 60s that have been getting involved. We're going to start seeing the 70s at some point now. I know there's been changes to the whole copyright and ownership and all that kind of stuff since the 70s, but at some point, especially now that some of these characters are now starting to show up in the movies and are being exploited in the comics, we'll see what they do. The Jerry Conways and Marv Wolfmans, the estate of George Perez and others, see if they start getting involved, saying, you know what, I should have a little bit more than what I've been given for characters that I created. So, and of course, the lawyer involved for the creators is a name we're very, very, very familiar with. Oh God, I just had it here. Mark Toberoff. That's the one that was involved with Siskel and Schuster, Bill Finger, Jack Kirby. I mean, it's almost like he's the go-to guy when it was regarding creators' rights and the suits against the publishers. He's the guy you want to go to. So So I thought that was interesting that we had this development. I didn't remember that everybody else had settled months ago.
I didn't know that either.
Because you would think there would have been a big deal saying, hey, yeah, because I mean, those were some pretty big names, especially since they have made appearances in the films, so that made them even more valuable. So I don't know. We'll see.
I'm glad they're getting some answers, though.
Right. Sounds like maybe they're making progress. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hopefully, no.
Yeah. Okay. Any special shout-outs or mentions this week?
Don't think so.
No.
Okay, we'll move on to our regular shout-outs. First off, I want to thank Pop Goes to Culture for allowing us to be part of a great group of podcast network. Check them out on our show notes. We'll have a link there. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who've been so kind enough as to spread the word of the fellowship by retweeting our links. That is Podern Family. And the best way to check them out is to do a search, #Podern Family. Scroll through whatever catches your attention. Please click on that link, download that episode. Hope you have a great time listening to them. I want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to the podcast. In our show notes, there will be a link where you can check out some of their other music. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. Any questions, comments, suggestions, complaints, observations, please send them our way. Email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net is our email address. Or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form you can fill out. We did mention the Discord earlier. There is a section specifically for feedback. So if you join our Discord, you can post your thoughts there. Social media. We're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. On Twitter /X, Instagram, and Hive Social, we're at Fellowship Geeks. If you want to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_Geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at TomTC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you'd be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, and see you next time.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We appreciate the support as always. And until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,